On this episode of the Whiskey Tornado, we review Smoke Wagon Straight Rye Whiskey. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Whiskey Tornado. I'm your host, Lance, and I know I am reviewing a rare allocated bottle that a lot of people are not going to be able to get their hands on today, so I know all the comments are going to blow up already. But let me quickly say before I get into this review, don't be mad that I'm reviewing it. I review these hard-to-find allocated bottles so that if you see them in a bar, it helps you decide whether to spend $30, $40, $50 on a pour of that bourbon. So don't get mad at me. Just sit back, enjoy it. Thanks to Ray at Harvest Market for getting me this bottle. This is one that I had on my radar. I really wanted to review and taste it. This is experimental rye from MGP. So Aaron Chepanik at Smoke Wagon Distillery got his hands on some MGP rye barrels that were 51% rye and 49% malted barley. So not your standard 95% rye, 5% malted barley that is sourced from a lot of companies and bottled. So on the back of the bottle here, it says, in 2013, MGP did an experimental run of the above mash bill, which is that 51% rye, 49% malted barley. There were 22 barrels total, consisting of 4 different char levels. So the C barrels had a heavy toast before char on staves, char number 1 on the staves, char number 2 on the heads. D barrel had number 2 char on the staves and number 2 char on the heads. E barrel, which is the one I'm reviewing for you guys, had a number 3 char on the staves, number 2 char on the heads. And then the F barrel had a number 5 char on the staves and a number 2 char on the heads. So I have E, which is, there was only 840 bottles. I have bottle 535, and it's 58.72% alcohol. So this is a very rare bottle, but I'm excited to try it for you. For those of you new to the Whiskey Tornado, I'll quickly explain our scoring system. If you've seen this a million times, use the timestamps below. Skip ahead to the section that you want to see, but we're going to take a deep dive into all these categories on this bottle. Here on the Whiskey Tornado, we have 7 categories. We rank each category 0 to 1, 0.5 being an average score. We have 2 handicapped categories. Those are appearance and availability. And then we move on to the nose, palate, finish, body, and value. At the end, we add all those scores up. Any score of 3 or better is a bar-worthy bottle. Feel safe buying that. You're going to love it. Any score of 4 or better is bunker worthy. Buy some extra bottles just in case the bourbon you love is no longer made. All right, guys, with all that being said, let's get into the appearance of this beautiful Smoke Wagon Rye Whiskey. All right, guys, if you've been following the channel for any length of time, you know these Smoke Wagon bottles are one of my favorite bottles for many reasons. Number one, it is beautiful. It is just gorgeous. The flowers that are etched and raised, the fiddly bit in the middle, wax, their logo, the label, everything about this bottle I absolutely love. It is perfection to me. Not to mention, if you've ever heard Aaron tell the story of the bottle, he really wanted the fiddly bit in the middle, and they told him it couldn't be done. A lot of glass companies wouldn't make these bottles for him, so he made his own mold. He found a company that would do it, and he produced his own bottle, and I think it paid off big time for them because they're just gorgeous, and it makes you want to buy it. For any of you that say appearance doesn't matter when you're picking out a bottle, I understand that what's in the bottle is more important, but there's a reason companies have marketing teams. There's a reason they want their bottles to look beautiful, and this is a perfect example of that. And it just, you taste things with your eyes first. So if you've ever been to a fancy restaurant, you look at that food and your brain already starts deciding whether you like it or not. And I just think the appearance of bourbons, whiskeys, it sets you up for what you're going to taste. And not to mention, it's a representation. It's art. It's a distillery's art, what's in the bottle. So what's on the outside should represent that to me. And I think Smoke Wagon and Aaron Chepanek just absolutely nailed it on the appearance. So we're going to give it a 0.1. I'm sorry, we're going to give it a 1, a perfect score on appearance. All right, moving on to availability. This is as limited and as rare as it gets. I can't give it a 0 because, you know, I have a bottle, but it's as low as I can rate it because you're just probably not going to find a bottle. But you might find a bottle at a bar. You might find a buddy who has good connections who will give you a pour of this. If you're ever at my house, I'll give you a pour of it. But we're going to give the availability a 0.1. All right, guys, let's get into this. Let's get into the nose. We'll get a pour of it here. Man, I'm so excited for this. For those of you that know me, I love some MGP products. I love MGP rye and bourbon. So this is a 9-year straight whiskey, single barrel. Again, 51% rye and 49% malted barley. Let's get into the nose here. First thing, right off the bat, is that citrus. The citrus that I get from a 95.5 rye from MGP, which is normally like lemon, lime, orange zest even, which I'm getting on a lot of things lately. But this definitely has that lemon, lime, orange zest. Now, the interesting thing that I'm getting on this, and I've got it on Traverse City rye. They source from MGP, and I've had some of their 8-9-year ryes. But what I get on some of the older MGP ryes is a pine note. And sometimes my brain puts that as like peppermint. And this is all over this. It is really nice. So it's that lemon, lime, orange zest, and then that piney peppermint note on the back end that almost gives this freshness to it. Opens up your nose. Really beautiful. And I love when I get that on an older MGP rye. And then there's dark chocolate all over this. It's very Christmassy, to be honest. But it's Christmassy with a little bit of citrus. So on the nose, I really like it. I wouldn't say it would move into that exceptional category for me, but for a rye, it's really good. We're gonna give it a 0.7. All right, moving on to the palate. Cheers, everybody. By the way, it's got a nice, you probably can't see that, but really nice dark color to it. So here we go, first sip. That lemon, lime, peppermint, pine note is all through that on the first sip. Really nice though. Going on to second sip. Those notes kind of tamed down for the second. Now I'm getting more vanilla. So like a lemon, lime, vanilla, peppermint, piney kind of thing going on. I know none of these notes sound like they go together, but that's what I'm getting. And it's even though those things don't sound like they go together, it's nice. It's a really nice rye. It reminds me a lot of the Traverse City rye that they source from MGP. I have a 8-year Traverse City barrel proof rye that reminds me a lot of this. All right, here we go. Third sip. This is like, it's getting a little bit better, a little more rounded and tamer as we go on. And that third sip was like if you had like a vanilla key lime cupcake with pine needles. I know it's like one of the crazier notes I've given for a rye, but that is really what this tastes like. I'm sticking to it, but it's really interesting. And then of course, you know, some of the barrel char comes through as well, but really nice rye. I'm gonna give it a 0.7 on the palate. The body on this, it's creamy. It's really well rounded. You can tell the age has rounded off a lot of those sharp edges. It's creamy. Now, I don't think this I don't think the body is as good on this as the 8-year Traverse City rye that I absolutely love, but it's not quite that oily, but it's still really good. I'm going to give it a 0.7 on the body. All right, moving on to the finish. I'll just finish this last little bit here. The finish, you know, I think those 9 years really tamed this down, rounded it out, and the finish doesn't go forever. For, you know, 58.72 proof, I don't know that it drinks quite that hot. This is a crushable rye, in my opinion. The finish isn't really as long as what I normally like. Probably give the finish a 0.6. It's better than average, but it's not going to blow you away either. All right, value on this. Value is where this is going to hurt this bottle because it's so limited and so rare. I think this is around a $200 bottle. I can't remember exactly, but I think it's around $200. Whether it's 180 or a little over 200, it's still too much. Again, the Traverse City rye that I had tastes very similar to this. Was an $80 to $85 bottle, almost the same year. I don't know the mash bill on it because Traverse City was not transparent on that bottle. In fact, they were so untransparent that I thought they produced it at first and later found out it was an MGP rye. So I'd be interested to know what the mash bill is because I'm getting those kind of piney notes, very Christmassy whiskey to me that some people are going to love and some people it's not going to hit them well. This is definitely a try before you buy. If you happen to get a bottle of this or want a bottle on secondary, definitely make sure that you try this in a bar first. This may be something that you don't like, but the value is going to be a 0.3. It's going to be less than average because at $200, I honestly think the Traverse City rye at $80 was a lot better. Now, that being said, this is a very unique MGP rye mash bill, and it's a single barrel done by Smoke Wagon, so aged in Las Vegas a little bit, in addition to Indiana, only 840 bottles. So to be able to pour this for friends that come over is an awesome thing. So I definitely think it's bar worthy. But as far as taste goes, it's not bunker worthy. This isn't anything. You're not missing out if you don't taste this. I've had a few MGP ryes that taste similar, but it is very interesting to have on my bar, and I'm thankful that I have it. But the overall score for Smoke Wagon straight rye whiskey comes to a 3.5, making it bar worthy. All right, guys, if you enjoyed this review, please like, comment, subscribe. For all things Whiskey Tornado, including merch, barrel picks, photography, go to whiskeytornado.com. You can join our Patreon crew for as little as $2 a month. That helps support our channel, helps me do things like lighting, camera upgrades, all those things that make this channel good so I can produce great content for you guys. Thanks again for all the love and support. I love you guys very much. Until next time, cheers.
Then